What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Dash today. It is the 4th day of November. Here we are sitting at about $122 right now, 10 hours and 28 minutes left in the day. You guys hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. We have hit our target zone, went all the way up to about $150, which, to be fair, it's a little bit more than I was personally expecting that we'd go to. But the range that we outlined, I believe, let's see, from a high to a low here, yeah, it was. It was within 134 to 170, if I'm not mistaken. And I specifically, C-Zar, was thinking that we'd go just above the 1414. We went kind of more in between the 1414 and the 1618, but right in the heart of that zone. I mean, it couldn't have been better, right? And how did we know this, right? It's the golden ratio from the high, from last cycle's high to the bear market low. It's the golden ratio. And not only that, it lined up perfectly with our 1414 1618 area. And the theory that we would not stop at $105, it would make more sense to push on to a higher price, came true. So here we are finding resistance there. Okay. If we look at the daily time frame, we zoom in a little bit, you can see that we have sold off a good bit. We're finding some turbulence here. I want to be clear, I don't think this move is done. You've got more to go, but you just might see a little bit of a pullback here. You might consolidate a little bit, perhaps here, from here, 120, you pull all the way back down to $75. If you're hearing that in your head, you're saying it's going to go higher, but it's going to pull all the way back to $75. How is that true? It's crypto. Crypto's volatile, you guys. I mean, you're not healthy unless you get a 30% correction or more, right? And I really wouldn't be surprised. A 30% correction here from the high would take us down right to $100. That's psychological support right there. Not only that, it's fairly common to bounce right off the 1272 as a form of support whenever you are up at these areas, and that's right at $100 right there. A 30% drop, I'm telling you, it's very common, if not more. We go from this area all the way down to the 886, and that's pretty normal too. That's a 60% drop, guys. We could see a 60% drop and still rally from here. Absolutely, we can. Let's just see, are there any examples of this? I mean, not really here. I mean, from a high to a low, that was a 38% drop. High to low here, it's a 46% drop, but just, again, standard stuff when you're working your way higher. Very, very standard stuff. Now, I don't think that we're going to go all the way down to 60, personally. I don't know even if we get down to 71.58. I'm just saying it's somewhat common enough from these areas to go here. And with a powerful move like this, you could wick all the way down here and then come right back up in no time. I'm not saying that I'm putting buy orders down at this level because I expect it to hit. I'm just saying if it happens, that doesn't mean Dash is broken. It's actually very normal to see this kind of restructuring in the markets. And all you'd be doing is pulling back and back testing prior resistance points here. But I think more so what you're probably going to do, because you've already shown enough significance in this area, consolidating before, I think more so what you would do is you'd pull back to this area, if anything, and that's at $77, or likely you do hold that $100 area. You could find support here at prior support as well. Let's do a deep dive. We'll look at the 1 hour time frame and see what we can come up with. I just want to look at this real quick from a low to a high, where your 382 is. Let's just see. It's all the way down at 65. I don't know. There's a lot of promise to go down below $70, between 60 and $70. I'm not really calling for that now, though. Maybe 90. Maybe 90 is exactly where you'll go. $90. How much of a pullback is that overall? 40%. I mean, that's pretty standard. That's cool. Yeah. Maybe you pull back to 90. Dash breaks back below $100. Everybody starts to panic because it's below $100, and then boom, that's whenever you rip. Psychological capitulation there. Look at how beautiful this is from a low to a high. You found support on the golden ratio here. I guess you wouldn't have known that the golden ratio is there, to be completely fair. You did find support at your 382 there. Anyways, let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll zoom out from there. Okay. 1 hour time frame, looking at this. Very bullish on the RSI, super bullish. It's immaculate. It's really great. We did try to come back up and get overbought, and we rejected that, so that does imply that we're probably going to come down. Typically, that's what happens, okay? The stochastics are bearish, and the MACD just crossed red as well, so cool off a little bit. This in itself does not say that we have to go to $100, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did, or even, again, a little bit below there. This is our most relative area of resistance that we had. Right there at 96, that $90 price level is looking rather appetizing, my friends. 4 hour time frame here. Bearish divergence. And where did that bearish divergence start? It started right here. That's at $90. Typically, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, typically you go back where the divergence started and you actually go through it. this divergence that we're seeing on the 4-hour RSI, which that's some pretty significant divergence there, you guys, would call for a move that's below $90. Okay, here we are at $125 now, dash, with very strong prospects to go below $90. At the very least, interact with these highs to some degree. The MACD is building bullish momentum. Very nice to see here, but again, you can cool off a little bit. You can come down. It's not a big deal, right? Notice how much you've come down here in your RSI without really even making strides lower, right? So if we do go down to 90, imagine how cooled off your RSI is going to be. You're probably going to be in the oversold zones here, right? I mean, typically, look at this. We had bearish divergence right here. We dropped a good bit, but we didn't get oversold. We actually bounced off the oversold zone. So we don't have to get oversold, but something that is probably significantly lower than where we are now, you know, just in terms of price. 125 to something below $90. That's what I would expect at the moment. Daily time frame, very overbought, very, very strong move. 91 read right now, crazy stuff. You know, you probably do come down and close today red. What's nice about this, again, whenever you're at these strong levels, you don't really need much to cool off, right? Like here, from here to here, I mean, all you did was drop like, I guess that's a pretty significant drop still from a high to a low. Yeah, you dropped like 36% to be fair. But again, that's a pretty standard drop. It's kind of crazy that looks like nothing, but that was a 36% drop. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we saw something between $80 and $90. That's kind of my expectation at the moment. So with that in mind, again, I want to take this low to high here. Let's take this low to this high. $90 is the 236. I mean, we could go. I want you guys. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. Not financial advice. Not a financial advisor. It's just a possibility. It's an outcome that we should accept as a possibility, so we're not afraid of it if it happens. We could drop all the way down to $65. It could, and with the 382, it's common enough to wick below it. Might we interact with this prior resistance point, or even this prior resistance point down here before we find support and we start to come up? It's crazy seeing the high today at $150 and talking about prices that are below $70 at all, but that's the reality that we live in. This is crypto. Volatility happens. And you have hit a major point at which I think you will find resistance. One of two things, okay? This is another thought that's in my head here, okay? Because we do have bearish divergence. We can further that bearish divergence on the 4-hour, okay? That divergence is unlocked right now, but we could come up still for one last drive higher. Again, the 1-hour time frame is absurdly bullish. There are implications that we do go lower, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go to $100, $90 or lower than that from here. We could still make another drive higher. If we do make another drive higher from here, we'll probably form double bullish or bearish divergence. And if we were to make another drive higher, where might a price be to expect if we are to go higher? Probably the golden ratio at $171. So what I'm saying here, I'm saying two things. Okay, first and foremost, I think we found a significant high. I think we are going to pull back below $100. We're probably going to go somewhere between $65. Let's round it out. Let's say $60 and $90, somewhere in that range. Okay, I'm more under the impression that we're going to go to about $90 to $85, somewhere in that range. That's my impression. But we could go as low as $60, $65, somewhere in that range. Okay, $70, whatever. I'm not wrong if we take out this high. Okay, we could move higher first, go to $171, get like a relative double top or some kind of price that just continues to climb higher, and then we top off and then we roll over. So here at $124, if we do get some kind of recovery, which I'm not forecasting, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. We could bounce here. You never know. The MACD looks healthy enough. The stochastics and the RSI are healthy enough. You know, it could happen. If we do bounce here and we do climb higher, $171 likely holds resistance. I doubt that we're on a non-stop moon mission above there. However, if we get a day to close at like 175 or higher, if we get a daily close above $175, it's completely possible this party doesn't stop until we're at $240, $250 or higher, and that I was calling for this high too soon. So those are things to be aware of. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not talking about it because I think it's going to happen. I'm talking about it to cover our bases. We should consider all possibilities, right? And the possibility that I'm wrong, that this is not a relative high, that we don't go lower, is there, right? I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I do think we're going to pull back to 90 bucks. I do think that's a relevant high. The 4-hour time frame, this RSI right here, this bearish divergence says it all to me. Super hot, getting into the 90s. Super hot on the daily RSI, and you're even pretty hot on the weekly RSI as well. So cool off a little bit, pull back to 90 bucks, 85 bucks, at the lowest 60 to 70. And then we could sing Kumbaya maybe next week or the week after. I do expect that this move is going to be quick, it'll be tight, and then we'll rip. It'll be very similar to this here. Okay, very, very, very similar to that there. That's what I'm expecting. Okay. Anyways, I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves. Good job, Dashers. Bye-bye.